Hello everyone, this is Dilip Kumar working as assistant professor in Department of Physics at Annamacharya College, Tirupati. So in the past videos we have seen some basic introduction or which is the most useful basic in the past videos like vector algebra, vector calculus, which is a very important topic which will most useful in the fields like electrostatic fields and magnetostatic fields. So now in this video we will now enter into electrostatic fields. Let's look into the static with respect to electrostatic field. We will start with Coulomb's law that will help you a lot. Here if we see the name, it is the electrostatic field. Electrostatic field. Here we can see the name can be divided into three parts, that is electrostatic and the field. Field is nothing but some kind of energy that has been distributed in any particular region. Now the other word, that is a static, means the stationary. It is completely independent of the time. Completely independent of the time. Electro in the sense fields may be positive charge or negative charge, that can be considered here electro. The combined of these three names we call it as electrostatic field, that is both positive charge or the negative charge which is in stationary condition in a particular region, we call it as electrostatic fields. Actually, electrostatic field is produced by static charge distribution. In this, one of the basic law, that is important law for the studies, that is called Coulomb's law. This law states that it is an experimental law done by French Colonel Charles Augustin de Coulomb. That is, there is a some point charge we considered that is located on any body like, and are some smaller than any other relevant dimensions. The point charge to be very small. Like such collection of those electric charges has been put it on a pin head. Now that may be regarded as a point charge. Charges here, charges are measured in coulombs. Charges are measured here in electrostatic fields with the word called coulombs, and it has been written in a short word C. And to represent the numerical value is 1 coulomb is approximately equal to 6 into 10 to the power of 18 electrons. 18 electrons. Or in order to say in a invert manner, that is 1 electron equal to C, 1 electron equal to, in terms of coulombs to say, that is minus 1.6019 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. So overall, in brief, the statement gives like this. Coulomb's law states that the force, okay, the force between the two charges, let us take consider two charges, q1, q2, two charges, and it is being placed on a line, and line joining between them will be like directly proportional to the product. So here there is a product between the two charges q1, q2, and inversely proportional to, inversely proportional to square of the distance between the two charges. Here let us consider two charges Q1, Q2. Now the statement will goes like this. The force between the two charges is directly proportional to Q1, Q2 product and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Now in order to remove the proportionality here, I can write like F equal to, by taking some constant, some scaling factor to remove the proportionality constant, I'll write like this. Here K is proportionality constant. Now let us look out the units of all those terms present here. K is proportionality constant, and however charges Q and Q2 are measured in coulombs and the distance is measured in meters and overall force is measured in newtons. These are the units, and proportionality constant to be represented like this: K equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, and epsilon naught is nothing but permittivity of the free space in farads, or even to say in farad per meters, and the value goes like this: epsilon naught equal to 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12, or you can write in terms of pi, that equal to 10 to the power of minus 19 by 36 pi farad per meter. That is what we can say. This, if we substitute the value in K, then we can get the value like this. That is, K can be represented 9 into, that is substituting this epsilon naught here, then you get K equal to 9 into 10 to the power of 9 meter per farad. Just invert, as it is a unit is a farad per meter, it has been inverted if we substitute this epsilon naught in K. Then overall the F, that is a force between the two charges according to the statement, will goes finally like this. It is F equal to Q1 Q2 by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. This is equation, take let equation 2, or if you take this as a equation 1, however you can take consider this. If the two charges are, as just now we have been said that these two charges has been placed on some line or somewhere else, then there is some distance between those two r. Now having these two with respect to position vectors, if we consider r1 and r2, then the force among those two can be written like this. Let's look into that. Here, to see that force between the two charges F1, Q1 and Q2, it is F12 equal to Q1 Q2 by 4 pi epsilon naught r square AR12. Here it is a suffix r12 is a unit vector. As you can draw the diagram also, the same thing, Q1 Q2, and the distance between these two is r12. There is a, let us take some origin, we can have some reference horizon, let us consider. Now force between on both sides we can be considered opposing force, like F12 here on this direction, let it be F21, that is force between among those two charges. Here F12, that is force between charge Q2 due to Q1. The same thing in reverse manner also can be written here. Here AR12 can be written like this. It is a unit vector, can be written like this, magnitude of R, then followed by R vector in the denominator. Here this is a two charges, that is, and F12 is the force between the two charges. To write with respect to the distances of R1 and R2 as with respect to origin, we can write the force with respect to reference origin. then the force will be written like this: F12 equal to Q1 Q2 R2 bar minus R1 bar. There is a distance between these two charges, divided by 4 pi epsilon, and your R square will be magnitude, R2 minus R1 will be R cube. Or we can write with the help of magnitude also. If we remove the modulus, then we can write whole to the power of 3 by 2 also we can write. That is also possible. Next to see, there is a some key points we need to note down with respect to Coulomb's charge or Coulomb's law. Here, the force between the two charges F12 or F21, both are opposite in directions. So their forces leads to be some direction change with the sign value with minus. That is F21T you can write equal to minus F12. This is what some change is there. And if we take the positive charges, obviously positive charges leads to be, this is also one more observation we need to take. Positive charges, if you take two charges, then there is a repulsion will be there. Or if you take negative charges also, there is a repulsion. Or if you take one positive and one negative charge, then these two charges will get attract with opposite charges. And the distance r between the charged bodies q1 and q2 must be large compared with the linear dimensions of the bodies. Obviously, with respect to electrostatic case we have been considered here, q1 q2 must be static here, and the signs of q1 q2 must be taken into the account. These are some observations we need to be considered to write the force equation. Now, the force equation which is represented here only for the charges Q1 and Q2. What happens at all the time in the region that is a field, we can't observe only two charges. There might be some infinite number of charges. At that case, now what should be the force? That is, the charges is not 1 and 2. It can be some n number of charges, q1, q2, q3, and so on, qn. At the time, what would be? And the distances also will be varies, r1, r2, and so on, rn. Now the force equation will looks to be like this. That is F bar equal to q1. Now, among these charges, n charges, 1q will be the reference charge with respect to the remaining thing. Here, q1, and the distance r bar minus r1 bar divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r bar minus r1 bar whole cube. Similarly, we can write for the force equation for second charge, r minus r2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r minus r2 whole cube, and so on. For the nth charge, we can write similarly qn r minus rn by 4 pi epsilon naught r minus rn whole cube. Now, to make it summarize the entire equation in a single short form, I can write like this. That is F bar equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught summation. As the entire terms, you have the Q term, 4 pi epsilon naught is called similar term. It is taken outside the summation. Then sigma with some constant k equal to 1 to n number of charges. It is taken as a qk, and multiplication r minus rk divided by r minus rk bar whole cube. This is what force for the n number of charges. Now let's look into the other parameter, which is called electric field intensity. Electric field intensity. Here the statement goes this one like this. Here the electric field is denoted with E bar, that is equal to here force per unit charge. It is denoted with, the electric field defines with force per unit charge. It's very simple. The electric field intensity E bar is here in the direction of the force and is measured in just very simple. We can write even the units. However, force is measured in terms of units and charge is measured in coulombs. Just by from looking the expression of the electric field intensity, we can write the units, or even we can write in terms of other units. It is a volt per meter, the electric field intensity. Here force per unit charge is nothing but electric field intensity. Just by looking the previous expression, that is electric force between two charges, we can write the electric field intensity for n number of charges or even for between two charges. Just by simply we can make the term q out of these two charges, any of the q charge, if we make the charge, just take the left side of the equation, the remaining term will be the same as it is on the left side, term will be equated to electric field intensity. Now we can write the electric field for between two charges with respect to force, that can be written as E bar equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R square AR. E bar equal to Q R bar R dash by some reference 4 pi epsilon naught R bar R dash whole cube is what. Similarly, we can write for n number of charges, electric field intensity 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught sigma k equal to 1 to n qk r minus rk by r minus rk whole cube. This is what electric field intensity. Now this electric fields can be defined with respect to the fields regions in different ways. That is, the distribution of the charge will be continuous or discontinuous in nature. Now for the time being, we will consider the charges to be continuous in nature. Electric fields, due to continuous charge distribution, various charge, let's look into various charge distributions, how it look to be various charge distributions. Let's look into this charge distributions now. Here if you see one charge, from the point charge we will start. One charge, let us take positive charge, it is Q. This is called point charge. Let's go with, now such point charges has been laid down on a line, now this is called line charge. Here your parameter will change, instead of Q we will have rho L. That is, here the rho is nothing but charge density, rho nothing but charge density. The suffix value, the letter denotes the region, that is, the charge has been located on the line, charge density. Overall we can call it as this term as line charge density. This line charge density you can measure with coulomb per meter. That is, coulomb is the charge's existence along the line, it is meter. Now instead of a line, the charges may exist on a surface also. Is it right? Now for this surface, if we consider it is continuous in nature, then there is a notation of rho s. Now for this rho s, it is, name it as surface charge density. Units coulomb per meter square. The same thing we can consider with respect to volume case. Same thing, that is existence of charges, entire volume denoted with rho v, which we call it as volume charge, density, units, coulomb per meter cube. That's just to represent. Now here it is a point, a line, surface and volume. To get the area of the entire charge, we need some equation. That is to get like this with the parameter of the new term, that is dq is the charge element. Using this, we are going to calculate the total charge. dq is a charge element and the total charge is q. As with respect to charge distributions, we can get for each and every term like this. dq you can write it as with respect to line, with respect to pointer there is nothing to be added, so it is a point, so it's only q. That is a total charge. For line you can write with rho L with followed by dl, right? If you integrate on both sides, then you will get q equal to rho integral real rho L dl is a line charge. Similarly, we can write for surface dq rho s ds, q surface rho s ds, volume dq rho v dv, q integral volume rho v dv is a line charge, surface charge, volume charge. This is how we get the charges has been distributed. Now for this charge distributions, we can write the electric field intensity also. Let's look into the equations. Electric field intensity for the line charge, integral rho L dl by 4 pi epsilon naught r square into ar unit vector, and for the surface rho s ds by 4 pi epsilon naught r square ar, and volume integral rho v dv 4 pi epsilon naught r square ar. This is volume charge. Very simply we can do this one. As already we have been seen, that is these three equations we can get very easily. There is nothing difficult here. Just in the previous screen we have seen it is electric field can be defined as force per unit charge. Whatever the thing we have been considered, instead of charge we have been placed directly the charge equation q here, then we can get the respective terms very easily. Now next we will see the electric field intensity with respect to the line charge, volume charge and even the surface charge with some real field existence of the axis of x, y, z. Now for the the line charge with electric field intensity existence, then we can get the equation for this. E bar equal to rho L by 2 pi epsilon naught rho into A rho, and for the surface charge we can get E bar equal to rho s by 2 epsilon naught into an. Here n is the normal, obviously as it is a surface, whatever the action that is taken, it is a perpendicular in nature to the surface. It is an, that is a normal vector general equation for the surface charge. And the volume charge electric field intensity E bar equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square into AZ. With respect to coordinates of x, y, z, the electric field intensity values will be shown like this. The first one is the line charge electric field intensity. The second one is surface charge intensity, electric field intensity. The last one is volume charge electric field intensity. There is a separate in detailed description for these three. To get the values from the previous expressions of electric field intensities, if we place the charges in the coordinate axis with respect to line, surface and volume, there is a separate derivations are there that will be shown in the next videos. Here, with respect to these equations, we can have the next parameter, that is electric flux density. Next parameter is electric flux density. Here, this defines that the flux due to the electric field E bar can be with using the flux. Okay, here the flux is due to the electric field E bar with the notation with D bar. Here electric flux density is equal to expression equal to epsilon naught E bar. E bar is electric field intensity. And to get the value of flux in terms of D, we can have the expression psi equal to integral D bar ds. And the electric flux mentioned here is measured in coulombs. The vector field D bar is called electric flux density and is measured in coulombs per square meter. And the electric flux density is also called electric displacement. The another name here, it is called electric displacement. And this electric flux density to write in terms of line, surface, volume. Let's look into that. Just by default, if we substitute these necessary values in this, we can get the electric flux density. It is D bar equal to Q by 4 pi R square into AR. This is for point. The next, for line, D bar equal to rho L by 2 pi rho A rho, and surface D bar equal to rho S by 2 AN, volume D bar equal to integral rho V by 4 pi R square AR dV. The names goes like this: point, this is line, this is surface, this is volume. Next, in continuation with this, there is a next parameter which is a very useful parameter and useful law, that is Gauss law. Here the Gauss law states that the total electric flux, it is psi, through any closed surface is equal to total charge enclosed by the surface, is called Gauss law. Okay, so repeating the statement, the same: total charge, total electric flux psi through any closed surface of the total charge enclosed by that surface. Now we can write this Gauss law in terms of electric flux density also. Psi equal to, okay, as it is a closed surface, I can write with d psi with d psi. As it is d psi, the surface d bar ds we can write. Or as it is a closed surface, we can write with respect to integral volume rho v d. Or in terms of charge to write, charge equal to integral s d bar ds. Or in terms of volume, rho v dv. Here, Gauss law is another name we have, that is to represent either in terms of integral form or point form. Integral form or point form. If we apply divergence for this one, for a closed surface, generally the divergence has been applied for closed surface and volume. We can get the expression will be like this: closed surface of d bar ds equal to volume charge. The d can be written with the d bar as it is, with the divergence del dot, and differential term will change from surface to volume. This is called after applying the divergence expression. Here we can get some a new identity of equation comparing the two equations, that is these two equations. If we compare, we can get a new identity which is called del dot d bar equal to rho v. This is a very important expression. That is, it can state that this expression gives volume charge density is same as the divergence of electric flux density. This is some conclusion by comparing these two expressions. And we can see that in different ways, the Gauss law in terms of integral form or in point form, or in is a, it with respect to here to say the last final conclusion, this one is with the differential form. That is what we got it. And Gauss law is an alternative statement also with respect to Coulomb's law, and application of divergence theorem to Coulomb's law results in the Gauss law. This is how what the Gauss law use. And to see, even we can apply the Gauss law for the point charge, for the line charge, and even for the surface charge, and even if we go for sphere also. This is what we have seen here in this video, that is a different important parameters, that is first law, Coulomb's law we have seen. In continuation with Coulomb's law, if we we have been started the force between the charges, that is F has been identified, and F has been identified for more than two charges. If it exists, then nth charge, how the force will be. Then in followed with continuation with electric field intensity, that is a force per unit charge. In continuation with, we have been the electric field intensity has been applied for different distributions, charge distributions, that is line, surface, and volume. In continuation with, we have seen the electric flux density, that is epsilon naught E, and the same application, that is a line, surface, volume also applied for electric flux density here. Then in continuation with, we have seen the other law, that is called Gauss law. Okay, and even the same Gauss law also we can apply for line, surface, and volume. To see that expressions, let me write those expressions. That is electric flux density, that is a d bar. To write for those using the Gauss law also, we can get the same expression, there is no change. That is d bar equal to q by 4 pi r square AR. This is for point charge. And if you see for the line charge, you can get the d bar equal to rho L by 2 pi rho A rho, the same thing we get. And for the surface, we can get d bar equal to rho S by 2 AZ 2 rho S by 2 AZ. And even for the any surface uniformly charged sphere, d bar you can get rho V into R by 3 AR. This is for point, this is for line, this is for surface, this is for volume. This is how it goes. So this is the final conclusion equations. Now, if you want to go in detail of the derivations for these detailed derivations, you can go to my videos. Thank you.